It's working. I gotta fix some things. Some things are not working. My webcam is not working. Not sure why. Well, I know that OBS had an update. All right. 929.59, bracket of 35. Targets 25. I'm just using 25 and 50 today. I'm expecting muted, not a big move. Stop is 100. All right, stop is 100. I'm going to test the bracket. I'll trade it in our market open account. All right. I label every trade breakout, breakout MNQ. Don't forget, right after the open, we're going to go over to Bank of Canada. Going to go to Bank of Canada. Right after the open. Don't let me forget, please. In fact, I'm going to put it on. I'm not going to trade the YM this morning. I'm going to put Canada on that chart. 929.59, bracket of 35. Setting the time to 0 for a moment. Putting the account on sim so I don't get filled early. Testing the bracket. Putting the chart on sim. All right. Just looking at the bracket. That's a little wide. All right. I think it looks like we may get a test of the high. You have nice magnets on this open that might be viable also. If you don't like the breakout, a couple of magnet ideas that you could do. You could do a high of day, low of day magnet, of course, looking for the test of the high. You could do an R1 magnet. That's a lot closer. And you could do another VWAP test. That's a good possible magnet also. Those are good possible magnets. Now, also going to set up a reverse continue on the MNQ. So add a second strategy, reverse continue. Now I'm just going to trade a couple of positions, couple of contracts, one position, and I'll go for 50 tick target. I'll use a 50 tick stop. It's just a scalp if the breakout doesn't work, or MNQ reverse continue. Okay, labeling it. Apply it. It's labeled MNQ reverse continue, right? Turn it on. Now, I can add a Canada chart. So I'm going to leave the YM, shrink my chart. I'm going to add a third chart for Canada. So we have maybe, we don't have a setup for the YM. I'm not doing a breakout this morning. It's fed. It might work. I could be wrong, but there's more of a possibility of a muted open today. I'll trade the MNQ open, and we do have a trap trade for the Bank of Canada, and I am going to trade it. So I need another chart from Ninja, a third chart. I have a GC chart floating around here. So we're going to make this 6C 1225, right? Canada. Now, the other thing I need is the news so that we see what they do on the rate, okay? It is expected they're going to cut the rate. Now, on a trap, the Canada Bank of Canada rate statement has not been moving very much. But rather than losing, I'd rather not get filled, all right? I would rather not get filled. Now, every day they keep showing that new home sales are coming out and they never get released. So I'm not anticipating new homes at 10 o'clock, folks. I don't believe it's coming out. I don't know for sure, but I don't think so. So Canada, the bank of interest, the interest rate, they should be cutting it to 2.25, okay? It's a trap trade. The setup is a trap trade. It's not till 9:45. All right. Strategy, trap trade, 9:44. 55 is the trigger. The stop is 25. All right. Tier 1, just one contract. Tier 2 is one contract. Trading it in the prop, it's labeled trap 6C. All right. Now, position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Tier 1 is 15. Tier 2 is 25. If this moves 50 ticks or less, then our trap trade will work. It'll be manageable. It'll be manageable. Doesn't mean it's going to work and be a profit. It means it won't blow through our stop, okay? So that's the trap. Apply it and okay it. Turn it on. Okay, we could turn it on in a little while. Normally, I would also do a reverse continue on the Canadian dollar as well after the trap, right? Couple of contracts, one position, and I would just do a 30 tick target, a 30 tick stop. And again, that's just a discretionary, you know the deal, it's a discretionary possible trade. 6C reverse continue. And that's not till 9:45, all right? So when the open is done, we'll deal with this, all right? For now, we're watching the YM. It keeps making new highs. So I think my decision on the YM to just let it be, it may not be the right decision. A breakout might work fine. A range trade might work fine. It's Fed day. That's my real main reason for I'm kind of expecting muted opens today. And we didn't see much on gold. We didn't see much on oil. A lot of traders, they just wait for the Fed. All right, YM just keeps making new highs. We are on YouTube. I'm guessing there's not that many people watching. I'm not emailing about YouTube. My chat's not working. So that's something I have to fix. There was an update to OBS. I'm also on a different computer. It is what it is. I'm doing the best I can. Yeah, we need more members. I have a couple of exciting, fun things we're going to do for the end of the year. Making a big announcement next week. Actually, tomorrow at Trader's Corner will be the teaser, and then big announcement next week. Might be the week after, and I'm just making sure that the schedule's it's going to happen. I got something pretty big that'll be good, a good place to make an announcement that I'm transgendering to a woman. That's the announcement. I'll be using this voice. It's a long. I do think the market's going long. I don't know why everybody's so crazy about transgender. Do you really care if someone's transgender? I couldn't care less. I don't care who sleeps with who. I don't care what sex they are. I don't want it in my school either way. We don't need schools doing anything except honest sex education, just like they should have honest financial education, home economics, music, sports, art appreciation. It shouldn't be like it is in Texas, where there's no music programs. Canceling music and art programs makes a society really troubled. If you can't appreciate good art and good literature and good music, what are you? What are you? Remember what I said about the magnet. You got a nice short magnet, VWAP, taking place maybe here on the MNQ. Now, what if you really believe in your heart it's going to be a magnet and you didn't set up a magnet and there's not a lot of time? You could take your instant short on your reverse continue. You can use the reverse continue, right? Charles, I'm not so sure that's true. There are some living things that are asexual in nature. But what's the real point? Isn't the real point that the media spends too much attention on who's sleeping with who when it's not news and they ignore the real news, who's stealing our money? Isn't that the real news? Who was who's covering up the Epstein files? Isn't that the real news? Not that Jennifer Lopez, is sleeping with Ben Affleck. That's not news. That's BS. That's distraction. So the MNQ, notice how choppy it's gotten as we get closer to the open. The YM finally pulled off the high, right? It pulled off the high. There's just not a great reachable level. It doesn't seem. Maybe this PP and the VWAP would have been a good magnet for the YM open. That might be not a bad YM magnet open. So basically trading the MNQ open, keeping an eye on the YM. We do have a possibility to take a scalp on the YM. This morning, I'm just thinking muted because of the Fed. I could be completely wrong about that, but so I'm just trading MNQ. And then in a few minutes, I'm going to turn on my Canada trap trade. So YM had a good move. It did have a decent move. I'm expecting the MNQ maybe to get to the high, but it may go without me. So just made a little bit on the MNQ breakout, all right? But it won again. I will say this, it won again. The YM, it looked short, and now it's fighting that short a little bit. It is fighting that short a little bit. It's definitely risky, I think, to take a discretionary trade on the YM. My leaning is to take it short just for a scalp. It's only one contract. And okay, so we got about 125 bucks on the YM scalp, all right? So we're almost flat now in this account. That gold, the gold open got us. The gold open got me. So I'm done on this open. I'm done on this open. The MNQ, it may do the high because it's got an upward bullish slant from before the open. The YM is more bullish than bearish. It didn't go quite as far as I thought it might go on that reversal. And now the squeeze is saying long YM. Before the trade, the YM was nonstop bullish. So I think we got a little bit of luck on that YM short. But now we got to go over to Canada. All right? Canada. I'm leaving my MNQ there. Canada trap trade. Market open. We're looking at this setup. the Bank of Canada rate statement. We have a trap trade, all right? It's at 9:45. Trap trade, 9:44.55 trigger, 9:45 trigger, 25 stop. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Tier 1 is 15, tier 2 is 25. All right. I'm adding a second contract to tier 1. If it's a good trade, it's only $5 a tick. All right. Stop is 25, tiers 15 and 25. It'll trigger at 9:45. All right. So I'm going to turn that on, the trap. All right. And I also have a reversal continuation. What do we do? 30 ticks, 30 tick target, 30 tick stop, reverse continue, couple of contracts, 6C 1225. Don't forget to label everything and make sure that everything's in the account that you're trading. Okay, don't forget that stuff and turn it on. Now, our MNQ break reverse continue is on. All right. Very nice, John. Very nice. That's a nice amount of ticks. Nitin, I'll see you later. Sounds good. NQ is a good trade. Calvin, usually we don't get order errors on the open, so sorry to see that. We have my second crazy clock. Which clock do you like better? Which clock do you like better? I kind of like this crazy clock. I call this crazy clock because you can't make it any smaller. Can't make it any smaller. Can make it bigger. Um, I wish it would go a tiny bit smaller. Tiny bit smaller. Did I give everybody the link for Crazy Clock? Let me see if I have it. Ah, good question. Doesn't it follow the time on your computer, Francis? I think it just follows the time on your computer. Francis? Oh, you want to change the time zone. Can you do that with topmost clock? Options. Maybe you got to go to the pro version. It doesn't look like there's any options to do anything. No, that's a good. I don't know if the pro version of this clock lets you do that, Francis. Let me give everybody the link for this crazy clock if I have it. Where is it? Here it is. Here's the link. You can download it off our server. Hey, Len, I was not trying to give you a hard time about the upgrade and stuff. We're just going to make an announcement. That's all. Here's the link for the clock. Yeah, Francis, that's a really good feature. That's a good feature. So, Francis, you know what I do. when I'm looking for that kind of info, and I'm just yakking because we're waiting for the rate statement trade. When I'm looking for that kind of info, I just head over to ChatGPT. Is there a free clock widget that allows for displaying, and you could Google it too, different time zones? You'd think that would be built into every clock. It's just so logical. TJ, what do you mean? TJ, what do you mean? Can you put it into the files? What does that mean? Francis, what clock is that? And what's wrong with it? Oh, um, I'd have to create I'd have to create a file, TJ. TJ, remind me to upload it. I've created it, but I don't want to open the files right now because I can't close them. There's some sort of bug in my software. Francis, I'm not sure what you mean. Multi-zone clock, a very simple free utility that allows you to set up multiple clocks, each showing a different time zone. So here's one possibility. Obviously, I have not vetted any of these for viruses, malware, anything. Okay. Sharp World Clock. They have a free trial. I don't want to pay for a clock, but you can check that out if you want to. All right. And World Clock Widget. World Clock Widget. Let me see. Oh, okay. So the clock on the right, okay, you can easily fix your topmost clock. Topmost clock, put your cursor dead center. Right click, and you can fix the colors. Set analog color, set your digital color. That'll fix your colors. All right? Cursor dead center, right click, and that gives you your options. There's actually a document in the file folder that tells you how to modify topmost clock. Now the other clock, I don't know why it's generating that way? Because there's no options. There's really no options. Is that the same clock? I know you want it to show my time. I don't know of a way to do that. You have to use it. We have to find a more powerful clock widget. We need a more powerful widget. So I'm looking for YM. Just keeps making new highs. So we're looking for Canada. Their rate decision. We're looking for a tradable move. Tradable move. And then I'm sorry to say it, but we're staying for the oil inventory report. I'm ready to hang myself. We're staying for the oil inventory report at 10 o'clock. Does anybody want to stay for the oil inventory report? I guess I do. It's my job. So, who said, oh, Nitin had to leave. He had to leave. All right. So, they're going to probably lower the rates, right? They're probably going to lower the rates. That's what everybody says. So, looking for a trap trade on this news. The question is, hopefully it won't be more than 50 ticks. If it's more than 50 ticks, it'll stop me out. Here come our orders. Here comes the news. They did the cut exactly as expected. We got filled and it reversed. I'm not ready to cancel the outer tier yet. I'd like to see price drop. Canceling the outer tier, moving my stop to safety. No matter what, I cannot lose money on this trade. I'm going to trail as it goes down. I'm going to trail as it continues down. My stop is going to be at the low of the day. All right? Low of the day. All right, so we made about 110 bucks. 110 bucks on the trap. I might have trailed too tight, which I often do, but I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. All right? I'm not sorry. I mean, it does look like we might have gotten out at the right spot, that for whatever reason, the Canadian dollar futures want to go up on this news. We got an immediate reversal because we were at the high for the trade. Okay. All right. So, Frank, I'll look for a magnet on the oil report because it's not a good breakout, but I'm going to look for a magnet. Before we decide if I'm going to trade it or not, I want to look and see if there's any good magnets. Remember, oil had highs and lows, but we were far away. Maybe we're closer now to one or the other. All right. I think if you made, I made more than $100 on Canada because I added a contract to position one. Now, is the MNQ getting ready to test that high? Do you think it's risky to take a long on the MNQ for a test of the high? We've been getting a lot of chop since the open. I'm waiting for the Fed. I'm done on the MNQ. All right. I'm done on Canada. So I can shrink this chart. And I'm done with this crazy looking clock. And I'm going over to oil. I don't know how I don't know how the Bank of Canada could say that inflation is down. I just don't know how they can say that. It's not true. It's a filthy lie. So one account we're up. Our market open account down $40 because the gold open hurt. That was like 200 and something bucks. My Australia account is a mess. All right. The earnings, people made good money on earnings this morning. People made good money on earnings. Especially on, what was it? What was our good earnings trade? Not Boeing. I traded very poorly on Boeing. Caterpillar was fantastic. Caterpillar was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, the Canada was a good setup. It was the right setup. Now we're late. Are they really releasing pending home sales at 10 o'clock? They're saying that they're releasing pending home sales at 10 o'clock. That normally is a gold trade. I was going to say about the YM, um, normally after the open, when it makes a new high or a new low, you get a good set of signals to go the other way. We did not get a good set of signals off of the high to take a short until 946 on the 30-second chart. It started to give you the signals, but you would have had a winning trade. And it did work. It did work. They weren't as good as the signals usually are. And it's part of the reason for that is the YM is so bullish. The short just didn't really take hold. But if you look at it closely, really, it did have a pretty good reversal, but I don't think you would have gotten in, if you're honest about where you would have gotten in. Most of us would not have gotten in on the first candle because you're waiting for the setup to start generating signals. But we might have gotten in 4 or 5 minutes later. The problem is the candles are green. I don't want to take a short, especially if price is bullish with green candles, even if the squeeze says so. So you wouldn't have had any opportunity to get in till this candle here. And let's be honest, let's say you didn't get in on that candle because all the candle before it was green and you waited. Then maybe you got in at 140ish and it still was a winning trade because it went down almost to 100. So there was opportunity. If you were very patient, after the open, there is a really good setup on YM, NQ, and MNQ to take a reversal. Take care, Charles. Charles, what's the first letter of your last name? I'm trying to figure out who you are. Anyway, does everybody understand what I'm talking about? That setup that I'm talking about? It's just not really clear today. It's clearer over here on the MNQ. I'm sorry, I want to get rid of something. I want to get rid of my crosshair. It's clearer over here on the MNQ, the setup I'm talking about, when the squeeze gives us a signal, but you have to assume we're closer to the high of day for this signal to be the way I'm talking about. But there's our downward momentum that says go short, but we like it much more if we are at a high or a low. But this is a setup that we see working a lot at the opens, all right? I'm tempted to trade pending homes on gold, but I'm not gonna. GC, I'm surprised it's coming out. I didn't think it would come out. I normally would have a trap trade on pending homes, not a breakout. And I would trigger it at 9:59, 55. Now, I might trade it with micros. My tier would be 15. Normally, my tier would be 10 and 20-ish. But the way gold's moving today, I would make it 15 and 30. Trap, MGC. Pending is the worst of the home sale trades. It's the worst of them. All right. Let me put it on MGC. I'm kind of willing maybe to give it a shot with MGC. And then I'll put a reverse continue on also. You know the deal. I like a reverse continue if there's news. And this is, I'm assuming the news is going to come out. Do a 30 tick target, a 40 tick stop, micros, okay, 2 contracts, 1 position, discretionary, right? And I want to put the news on so we see the news report. See if it comes out. And they don't even have it right. They have new homes coming out, not pending. They have new coming out and pending. They don't both ever come out the same day. That's unheard of. But don't we like reports that could make the market uncertain? Like if you have new homes, pending homes, and they go opposite directions, that's what you want with a trap trade. Indecision, chopping around. We don't want to move in one direction, right? We want indecision, chopping around. That's what we want. So I'm using a trap with micros. Let's see what happens. You only live once. Only live once. I do like watching the ES on home sales more than the YM. I have to reboot my computer. And I do want to thank everyone on YouTube. I'm going to close our YouTube stream. We've been streaming for about an hour and a half. And there's not a whole heck of a lot. This is not a tremendous amount of action this morning. I want to thank everyone on YouTube. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and thank you for joining us. And we'll be streaming